Charlie, we want to update that breaking news we told you about at the top of the show. We have some new pictures of damage from a possible tornado that touched down in McMinnville. We have a look at some of the damage that weather incident caused. You can see a lot of twisted metal and some buildings that were just really damaged in this. Now, on the phone, we have a man who saw it all, Michael Morris. Michael, tell us what you did see when this happened.
I was sitting in my office and I heard an unusual noise. I'm approximately 2 blocks to the north of where the small tornado touched down, and I looked out, and at first I couldn't really determine what it was, and then I saw some debris in the air at approximately 12th Street and the railroad tracks, and I watched as it progressed to the east for approximately 3 blocks. It was on the ground for probably 15 seconds. And there was significant metal roofing that was in the air, miscellaneous debris, small pieces of debris, personal items were in the air, probably up to about, I don't know, 200-300 feet in the air. And it continued on to the east, and then I watched it cross Lafayette Avenue and begin as it headed for a mobile home park, and then it began to dissipate as it got further to the east.
And with all that debris in the air, that can be quite dangerous, as we've seen in other recent tornadoes. Now, this area looks pretty rural from the pictures we're looking at. Were there people out when this was happening, like on the street?
Oh, absolutely. It's actually the second busiest street in McMinnville is Lafayette Avenue, and that's what it crossed at approximately, and there's a number of commercial and industrial buildings down in that area. In fact, I have 3 buildings that it actually split. It went right between 3 of my commercial buildings, so there's a lot of activity going on there. I spoke to a couple of my tenants, and they heard it, and they lost power in their buildings.
Wow. Yeah, we have reports that about 600 people are without power right now. And so from what we can see, just the pictures we're showing on the air, the damage looks pretty severe with some of these buildings.
It's very significant. I went ahead and walked down the railroad tracks to check on my other 2 buildings, and I could see significant damage to what appears to be, in fact, I know what it is. I'm very familiar with that area. It's a storage unit, multiple storage units, typical fairly large storage units that businesses are run out of, and it did significant damage to probably 6 to 12 of those units. And then it took that material, and when it sent that roofing material in the air, it draped it over a number of power lines, and you could see transformers blowing. There was a significant explosion, and you could see flames in the air.
Wow. And Michael, I know you're not a meteorologist. I know you're not probably a storm chaser, but in your opinion, do you think this was a tornado? Because we don't have that confirmed.
Well, it was certainly something of that nature. Whether it would be strong enough to be classified as a tornado, I don't know. But that was my first reaction. I called 911 from my office and described it as a small tornado. So that's what it looked like to me, was a small tornado.
Okay, Michael Morris on the phone, who witnessed this whole thing happen in McMinnville in the 12th and Lafayette area, did a lot of damage. Thank you, Michael, for joining us on the phone right now. And